Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Harley Quinn. A great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. First and foremost, I love they kind of get a little fourth wall breaky, and you've got like Frank sitting with Chaz, and and Frank's doing all the recapping, kind of explaining everything that's kind of going down so far. Then we hard cut to like Harley with Joker. He's coming out of the goo and the acid and everything. He's laughing. He's like, ha ha ha, and she like slaps him multiple times, and she's like, basically, I don't got time for your shit. Where's the fucking book? And obviously he's almost like, why would I help you? You're the reason why. He's like, oh shit. He remembers everything of when, prior to being the Joker. Well, when he wasn't the Joker anymore, when he was just like some plain stepdad. He just remembers that. I remember Frank making a joke about him being even whiter than, Joker became whiter than he already was as the Joker. But nevertheless, he's like, it's because of you that ended up happening to me. Why would I help you? And it's like, oh, if you don't, I have a bomb in your hair, which I was like, oh, that's very suicide-like of you, Suicide Squad-like of you, Harley. And he was like, fine. He kind of has to work with her. I love that, and I think it speaks volumes too. Because the moment the Joker's back, she's slapping the shit out of him, being like, no, let's get to this. Like, she's not getting caught up with like, oh my god, the Joker's back and all that stuff. It's like, no, we got too much riding on this. I mean, to be fair, she doesn't feel like that way about the Joker anyway. She hates his guts, so it's not like that would and in the grand scheme of things. But it's like, all right, where's the book? The book's at Bethany's. It's like, wait, what? So they have to go to his ex's place, and just like, and it's so interesting because you see a different side of Joker this episode. I love it because it's just like she's like, oh my god, she's got like Bethany's got the gun ready, and he's like, hey, and she's like, well, of course I might have a gun ready. It's Harley Quinn and the Joker, so you're here to rob me. It's like, actually, no, we're actually here for a fairy tale book. It turns out, hey. This is actually to do your thing. She's like, what? I was dating the Joker for 6 months. She's like, that's ridiculous. He's like, yeah, I know that gun's never loaded. You think the kids don't know about it, but actually they do know about it. He takes the gun from her, and she's like, oh my god, this is crazy. I love that whole thing. And like he's just not acting like his typical Joker self to a certain extent. And obviously it's a situation of them kind of talking things out, but him being like, I'm the Joker, like, because even Harley kind of throwing it at him, because like he kind of goes off on her. It's like, oh, do you really think that I was gonna be in love with you? And the fact of the matter is, I'd be some like plain boring stepdad or something like that. And she got super, pissed at him and everything. And Harley's like, oh, don't you? That was a little harsh. She's like, what? I'm the Joker. Come on, like, what do you expect from me? And Bethany got pissed and threw the book. So. It's like, and a parademon caught it and they took off, which I also love. At one point, like the parademons are like flying around, and like one of them was like eating on an arm, and then he's trying to hide it from the other parademon, and they're like fighting over a dismembered limb, and just like cities in chaos, blood everywhere. We never actually got to see where Gordon actually was, because I guess he's trying to find because Bruce was looking for the bat plane at one point in time, and that's when he caught Harley and Joker's like, oh, they must be behind all of this. It's like, it's time for and I love Bruce being like, it's time for Batman to return. It's time for Batman to return. And it's like, Alfred's like, you can't. He's like, I'm fine, Alfred. He's like, no, it's because I haven't disinfected the suit. He's like, fine. Then it'll be time. You clean the suit, then it'll be time for Batman to begin. Again, I was like, I love you using those movie titles like that. I love just sneaking in a little like inside jokes like that. I like that on both counts. But nevertheless, there's also the situation with Ivy, her, and Kite Man, because it's like, oh, we're going to plan our wedding. He's like, you sure you want to postpone this until this whole thing? She's like, no, it's fine, it's whatever. Like, because she's still awkward about the whole her and Harley thing, because for her, it's like her way of running away from it. Because like if she's able to run away from it, like it's like the quicker she gets married, the quicker she can move that, like leave that all behind. Because like I'm wondering, I think it's just that thing of like, because she herself doesn't want to admit how she, like, I think wholeheartedly, like, she says, like, oh, she doesn't feel the same. It's like, she does. She feels the same way, but she's scared because it's just kind of like, she brought up her fears and everything last time, but I think it might be a little deeper than that. Like, it's kind of all happening so suddenly, but the fact is, it happened multiple times shows that there's definitely something there, and it's reciprocal. Like, both of them feel it, whether she will admit it or not. But for her, it's like, no, I'm married to Kite. I'm getting married to Kite, man. Like, this is it. I love him. I care about him. But it's just, I think it's because once again, being with Harley is scary. Kite Man's a little more, more of a sure thing, because with Harley it's like, there's chaos involved, so the fact of the matter is you never know how things, once again, she wants to protect her heart, but it's but it's a situation, she's kind of rushing this wedding along, but he's like, all right. She's like, yeah, I love you. Want to get married? Yeah, married. Yeah, I love you. Want to get married? Yeah. And he's like, oh, that was so beautiful. And it's like the lady that's helping them do their stuff. It's like Debbie. She gets snatched up by a parademon, but she's still on the phone with them. Like, no, it's good. We're all good. Like, we're gonna get this. And it's like, okay. Then later on they go dress shopping, and he's like, shouldn't Harley be here for this? And he was like, no. He's like, did something happen between you and Harley? Like, you haven't been right since like the bachelor party. You haven't seemed like yourself. And she's like, no, we're good, we're fine, it's everything. He's like, yeah, this should be, this isn't Harley thing. She's not really good at this, but you are. And he's like, yeah, I don't think, I forgot what shade of white he calls it, but she's like, wait, this isn't just white. And he's like, no. And the parademons show up because they're like, where's Harley? Because Dr. Psycho was like, find Harley. And I love that he's like, we can't understand you. And Ivy's like, talking louder is not going to make them understand you. And he's like, maybe it is. And then like her dress gets ruined because it's like cut now from like some debris. And she gets super pissed and she kills the parademons. It's like, F that. I'm going to find Psycho and kick his little ass. Hold my hair. He's like, yes, honey. And so he's holding her wig and she bounces. So I love that. Speaking of Psycho, I love for one now his like I love that his assistant, or rather his fellow sidekick villain or whatever it's Riddler, and it's just like, even Riddler admits that, yeah, my rids haven't been as good as they, because I think it's because he's become somewhat of a meathead since getting jacked and stuff like that. I feel like his mind isn't as sharp as it used to be. But I love that, and it's like, yeah, let's call up Darkseid, and it's just like, oh, I even love Frank at the beginning being like, Darkseid, however the hell he said, but he calls him up and everything. I'm curious what the hell Darkseid was up to. Like, because he was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of busy, so I'm going to be leaving soon. But I'm like, what the hell are you busy about? I mean, I get, the conquering and stuff like that. But part of me thought, because of the nature of the show, it's going to be something like weird and ridiculous that he's doing. It was interesting though, because I even love him being like, oh right, you're the dwarf that was, that called Wonder Woman that slurred that I would not utter. And I'm like, it's funny, it's effed up that like Darkseid, we're talking mega villain, world conqueror Darkseid is like, man, I'd never call someone the C word. I'm like, that also shows you how messed up Psycho is, that even Darkseid is looking down on you for calling her that. But even he's like, yeah, but you using the word dwarf is a slur too. So, but we actually got a little backstory on Psycho, like basically where his villainy started is because there was a ride he couldn't get on. His mom was always like, nah, next time you'll be tall enough. But he never grew. He, obviously he did everything. He took like, what was it? Pills and stuff like that to grow his height, but it never worked. Then one time he saw that ride that everyone's having so much fun on. He saw it crash and so many people died, and he was like, oh, I felt such a thrill. And he's like, and that's where my hate for women came about. And I loved freaking Darkseid being like, actually, no, that doesn't track. And he's like, you get what I mean. I was like, I love that that was a swerve of like, yeah, I enjoyed all those people dying. And that's where I started hating women. It's like, wait, what? How does 1 + 1 = 3? I love, that was so messed up. But nevertheless. But Darkseid is willing to help Psycho if he can bring Harley Quinn's head. It's like, fine, you have my blessing, and you have the Earth just bring me Harley Quinn's head because she didn't go through the terms that we, agreed upon. So that's why they're after him now. They're after Harley now, and her and Joker sneak into the parademon thing. And I love that he's like chastising her the entire time about the fact is that, oh man, he's actually kind of being like, oh yeah, things weren't too bad between me and Bethany. I mean, it wasn't all like fake, He kind of keeps slipping stuff like that out, and she's like, are you getting sentimental? She's like, what the hell? Because at first she's like, well, how is this any different? Why weren't you like this when we were together? He was like, I wasn't, he's like, but the fact of the matter is he tried to be like, I forgot what his justification was, but she was like, you weren't yourself. Like, you weren't, she didn't get to see the real asshole that you are. But he's also talking about the fact that he's, talking from a place of love. And then he's talking about like, oh, he kind of throws it in Harley's face. Like, hope I didn't screw it up as much as you did the whole thing with Ivy. She's like, all right, the fact of the matter is everything is just what it is. I've accepted it. Ivy doesn't feel the same way I feel about her. And he's like, oh yeah, you've really accepted it because you're screaming at the top of your lungs every time the conversation comes up about her. So they're sneaking in there with the parademons, and two parademons are cuddling, and then it gets him thinking about like, oh, what if, things between him and Bethany are real? And Harley's like, it's true love. You shouldn't give up on it no matter what. And then like one of the parademon vomits acid on the other one, melting its head. And it's just like, oh, that's gross. All right, let's get the book and bounce. And I love that they do that. And then like they proceed to like kick some parademon ass. Like all of them going, and it's pretty badass. Him picking, which I'm like, of course, what's weapon he's going to pick up? Like, is that just his like go-to weapon? Because like obviously like the Injustice games, like that's part of his weaponry, like either a knife or a crowbar. Because that's what he beat Jason Todd to death with, wasn't it? Like a crowbar? I think so. I mean, that's just always like his. So I don't know if that's just supposed to be like that's. I mean, I guess because Harley's kind of known for the hammer and the bat. Definitely the bat is kind of what she's kind of become more associated with. So I guess that's like always been Joker's thing. He's always been associated with the crowbar. But nevertheless, like they're kicking some serious ass. I'm like, wow, it's so interesting. Because we've never actually seen them fight together like this. So that was actually pretty dope. But then in the situation of someone shows up, I was like, oh, is it Ivy? And it's like, nope, it's Batman. And he's captured him. And he's like, oh, I bet you're the ones behind this. You're working with Psycho. And she's like, no, you got it wrong on 2 accounts. And I love Joker being like, wow, Bat, since you've been out of the game, your detective skills have gone to shit. And it's like, all right, wait, this actually isn't a fairy tale book. Wait, what do you mean it's not? Actually, it's at Bethany's place. Damn it, all right, we gotta go back. On the way there, we'll explain everything. And then like Bruce is, when they get to Bethany's place, he's like, okay, so you were actually with someone named Bethany. He was like, yeah, my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend. And the fact that he was like, so, and you confessed your love for Ivy. And she was like, I don't even know why you brought that up. He was like, it was very organically brought up. It would have been weird if I didn't bring it up. And you're like, all right, let's go get this book. He's like, no, I got to do this. So he goes over to Bethany and he talks to, kind of opens up his heart and stuff like this. I'm like, wow, we're seeing a different side of Joker and I'm loving it. And it's just kind of like, oh, I was like, oh, this is actually super sweet and everything. And even later on, well, I love that no one really takes the time to be like, well, I guess it kind of happens in between stuff, but I love it because it's just like, all right, Zatanna pops up, which also answers the question. I'm like, are there any other heroes left? Like, because I couldn't remember which heroes ended up getting sucked into the boat, but it seems like it's the Flash, Green Lantern, Superman, and Wonder Woman the only ones. That's why I'm like, so that must mean, I mean, once again, we don't know what the full roster of the Justice League is like. They're getting these back, but I'm like, Zatanna's here, but I guess Zatanna's kind of doing her own thing, so bump the Justice League stuff, but we don't know, like, where's the Martian Manhunter? Where's Cyborg? I mean, where's the Teen Titans? Stuff like that. So it's like, no, don't worry about that. So I just thought that was interesting, and it's just kind of like, all right, the heroes get informed about everything that's going on. Everyone kind of goes their way, separate ways. And just like no one says anything about Joker or Harley. I guess it's just kind of a thing of like, yeah, this is what it is, and it's just like, oh yeah, I also love the hell they were in. It's like they play the song over and over again, and it's just like, oh, that place is terrible. But nevertheless, it's just, and Harley's like, okay, so what are you going to do now? You're just going to like be his stepdad and stuff like that. He's like, oh yeah, like the fact of the matter is, he's like, and he says a line I thought was kind of crazy. He's like, plenty of parents, stepdads or dads are serial killers. So he's like, the fact of the matter is, I'm just going to continue doing what I did before. Now I just have a different reason for doing it, and that's love. And I'm like, oh, that's so weirdly interesting. So, but obviously it's like, Joker's kind of giving her advice about this whole like Ivy thing, about like kind of like, are you really okay with things just kind of being the way they are, and kind of actually inspired Harley, which is so interesting to see like both of them potentially falling in love with someone else. And it's just like, oh, so that makes me think like, what's that going to look like going forward with Joker? That's so interesting. Like he's back in everything, but he's going to be living like a regular life while also doing the whole crown prince of crime situation. Ivy went to go to Psycho, and then like he ends up brainwashing her. He doesn't know about their relationship, but obviously like the moment it happened, I was like, oh, that's gonna get. I thought it was gonna be a thing of Ivy's gonna pretend like, oh, hey Harley, I feel the same way you do, kind of leaning into it. But why would she? Because Psycho doesn't know about that. So because none of her friends know that. Literally everyone else but her crew knows. Like Clayface doesn't know, King Shark doesn't know, and neither does Psycho. Also, you also remember, it's like, right, Psy isn't around, and he died last episode breaking down the barrier. It's like, oh, that's heartbreaking. But nevertheless, Ivy shows up, and she's like, I'm going to kill you. And it's like, oh, the end, cliffhanger, and it's like, dude, I am so excited to see where this takes us. I even love Frank being like, "Oh my god, this comedy show with some like almost like heartfelt, pulse pounding drama and stuff to it." It's like, dude, I cannot wait to see where the next episode takes us with all of this. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good